This conference will now be recorded.
The time being 4:47 p.m., I'd like to call the meeting of September 15th, 2022 to order. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, Mr. Jessman is here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just in time. Wow, that was like creepy fast.
Disregard my text message.
I got halfway here and forgot my wallet. I had to go back.
So we do have, next order of business would be to approve the minutes from 8:18 and 9:1. I'm wondering if we should table that until the end so that we can have a sufficient amount of time to have the discussion with our fire commissioners. Is everyone okay with that table?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll table the minutes of 8:18 and 9:1 until the end. Next up are the Tilton Northfield Fire Commissioners and talking about the fire station location. Gentlemen, the table and microphone are yours.
Do you want us at the table where we won't fit, or will you be able to hear us where we are?
Yeah, they won't be able to hear you. So if you would like to come up and around, the microphone should pick people up.
Take the chair and go.
All right.
Welcome again, gentlemen. So, an update. You have an update for us?
We took the information back, we discussed it, we were looking to see what the feasibility of what the land would look like to begin with. Because right now, that's a part of it is cost of land, hookups, things like that. 2 stations versus 1 station. Right now, the 2019 report had 6 to 9 in favor of a single station at Park Street. 3 of the 9 were in favor of a substation at Park Street and a headquarters somewhere else in the district. So one of the things we had immediately concerns of is what the cost of land and things like that for considering.
I don't know if we thought about cost yet, have we?
Just me personally, we paid a certain amount. I expect that you guys would pay just what we paid. That would be my personal feeling, but we haven't discussed money.
Okay. Because one of the things we were looking at is possible Center Street property for Park Street property.
Oh, Sanborn.
Thank you. I'm sorry. For Sanborn Road property, that parcel, correct. A swap after it's obviously Center Street after the construction would be done, then that would revert to the town of Tilton.
Again, just me, I don't think it's a good trade.
Okay.
In order for us to really be able to utilize that to the best of our ability, we'd have to tear the building down. And I mean, I would have to think that building is part of town. I don't know. We haven't discussed it. Right?
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Mr. Sherman?
Joe, can you speak into the mic?
No,
If
yeah.
Somebody.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that once the fire district moves out of the building, we have no need for it, nor do we want to be realtors and landlord holders and things like that. I think it would be a perfect opportunity. Right now, the committee is very willing to continue full force where they are with the Park Street single station plan. We just paused it at the moment to kind of hear feedback from the town of Tilton, since last time that was a concern that was brought up is what it is. So, I mean, kind of in that process now.
The other thing too is wouldn't be justice if we didn't have the opportunity to look into it. Wouldn't be fair to the people.
Yeah.
So we should take that in consideration.
Yeah. You need all costs.
Yep.
Put in, yep, understand. Mr. Pyra,
Since I represent both, I mean, my thought would be, I'm sure that it would be possible to find out what the demolition of the existing building would be and putting that in the cost of the actual station, and taking that into consideration perhaps on the value of the land as well. So, because I think if it was just a lot that was ready to put asphalt on,
Mhm.
it would be beneficial.
Great.
Unless someone wants to come in and put a brewery there.
I think for the benefit of the
Firehouse
board, where
brewery.
you're meeting with the board of selectmen, individual feelings and judgments really should not belong here in the board of selectmen. Maybe if you listed your questions that you want answered, we could meet as a board on selling of land and, swapping and so on and so forth amongst the 5 selectmen and come up with a whole board decision and say, this is what we've come to an agreement with, and then pass that back to you so that you could pass it back to your committee. And I think that would be more prudential for the town of Tilton.
agreed. So we'll have to collect information in terms of what this property's worth, what our property's worth, et cetera. Take it in and take a look at it so that we can get it back to you. And I know that being expeditious about it is important so that you can put your numbers together. So,
Would you have to wait till your next meeting?
I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone. I would want a fair amount of information in front of me in terms of the numbers, exactly what we're thinking the value is there, the value there. And I don't know about the rest of the board, but those kind of numbers would help us all in terms of making that consideration and making the considerations and our thought process.
Hard numbers and whatever.
Yeah. So I don't think we can do that. Mr. Stanley.
Do you know how the deed reads on that? Or, is it a lot size? Is it deeded to the fire district?
For Center Street?
Yeah.
It's deeded to the Tilton Northfield Fire District. The
And
lot size is
Is it
just somewhat bigger than the building is.
like a few feet around it?
But it
the
goes
other
back
part-
to the railroad right away in the back,
Right.
and a few feet to the left and a few feet to the right, and just a few feet to the front. I don't know exactly, but it's in the tax maps. You can look it
Yeah,
up.
there's a map that shows it, because I've seen it.
Yeah, there's only a few feet in the front.
Just roads right there.
So should we get a list of questions from the commissioners and
That would be helpful.
We can discuss it later, but we want to discuss it amongst ourselves. It's not fair to just throw out our own individual ideas.
Yeah, we need to come.
We're not going to get anywhere with that.
No, we need to be able to have a consensus. Selectman Constantine is right.
So your proposal would be Center Street for
Correct.
Sanborn Road. So we need to look at the value of Center Street. Do you have an appraised value for that yet?
We do not.
Okay.
Just would be on the tax card.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you know how much of Sanborn Road you needed?
I've about maybe 2/3 of what's left, not counting the parking lot, the gravel parking lot. We'd be looking to the left of that, where we're looking at somewhere around the 14,000 square foot building with asphalt in front going out to Sanborn Road, and of course asphalt in back for parking and driving through and stuff like that. but there seemed to be plenty of room between there and the back of the fence where the scoreboard goes. You certainly could fit, tennis courts or basketball courts back there or something like that size, it looks like to me.
Some recreational space left.
Mr. Jessamine.
I have a question. When you say 14,000 square feet, is that the major fire station? Is that a substation?
It would be a headquarters station. It would staff administrative staff and the on-duty crew and fire engines, ambulances, and stuff like that. It wouldn't have a large room, like a training room or a community room there. It would, we kind of have two plans in our thought process right now. Plan A is to build somewhere between 18 and 20,000 square feet of Park Street that would include everything. Everything that we have, all our staff, everything would be there. Plan B would be about a 14,000 square foot facility on Sanborn Road that would house probably most of our apparatus, but not all of it. And do a renovation at Park Street to remove one of the rescue bay, add a meeting room there or training room, and improve the interior for the call firefighters so they can stay in a properly air-conditioned, heated space, whereas right now they just sort of sit in the garage. But the shell of the building would remain the same.
Your footprint stays and you just alter the interior.
Just put up a couple walls on the inside and drop a ceiling in and a floor and some mini split. Good to go.
Is there a plan anywhere where you build Park Street as the administrative main part and substation in Tilton?
So
Or no?
that could be a plan, but we
I just
haven't. thought of it.
wondered if you were talking about that as well. That's for my own information. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about here.
That would probably cost more money to do that.
So I can answer. From the station committee meeting in 2019, as I said, the majority was in favor of the one station concept because that cuts down on duality of systems, transportation costs back and forth, things like that. It would have the training operations all together. The advantage of if this property was feasible, putting the headquarters and the career for personnel over at Sanborn Road would be ideal. To put the career personnel over at Park Street in a dual station concept is not beneficial at this time because your career people would all be at Park Street. So down the road, if Tilton grew and we increased more personnel, which means more money on the tax dollars, they would possibly add 2 locations. Right now, the call force primarily lives in residence around the Park Street station. So the opportunity to have the career people admin over at Sanborn Road, you would still have a call force that could respond with an engine and a quick response vehicle for medical. But to do it the other way would be an additional impact cost to have the substation over there unless the town area grew up enough to add more personnel.
I was on that committee, I recall.
Yeah.
So the two plans that we have are just trying to meet the needs of the fire district currently and somewhat into the future, not into the great future, but somewhat into the future and have it the least impact on the tax rate. So Plan A and Plan B, the commissioners have said that I should help hire a consultant to help us sort out what basically each plan is going to cost, and that'll help the commissioners make a decision as well going forward.
And so obviously the cost that we would associate with the Sanborn Road has to go into that as well.
Yeah.
So, okay. Right. Good.
Unfortunately, the other part of this is we're on pause.
Yeah.
The on pause has severely impacted the potential of putting it before the voters to move the next step forward. The construction is already not even going to be funded until 2024. Each year, you can expect the cost to go up at least $250,000 to $500,000 just for the same exact design that you designed today. It's 325 to 350 square feet is what we're seeing, and it's going to continue to go up. So next year, the same footprint that we did is going to increase that much more. So by pausing this, that's hurting us. So that's why the due diligence is to look at the Sanborn Road property, but it has to be in a very timely fashion. We thought when we spoke last time that both committees would talk about the feasibility and we would come to a kind of working understanding of where we are going with it. So otherwise, we need to push forward with Park Street fast and hard to even get it going. So that's the urgency that the commissioners are seeing, because the cost is going to just keep beating us up more and more, and we may not even be getting the same station for the same amount of money that's been presented to the taxpayers in the past.
Understood. Town Administrator Forrester, you had something?
Yeah, I just wanted to note to the board that Tim is listening, and he sent some information. He said the Center Street land is valued at $43,000. A lot on Business Park Drive, similar to our lot, not quite as nice, sold for $400,000. And the lot we have now would need to be subdivided because it's all one piece right now.
Correct. Yes.
And I think of importance, if we do subdivide it, if the town does subdivide it, where the lot line lands on Sanborn Road, so that the fire station would have access to cheaper water rather than more expensive water.
Yeah.
There's sewer at the police department, correct?
No,
It's on septic.
it's on septic. It's under the parking lot on the right.
Was that,
Mr. Pyro?
was that cost that he compared to Business Park Drive, was that for the entire lot as it sits today? So it's not knowing the square footage and, okay.
Yeah, my recollection is it's about 5 acres.
Yeah, so that's 400,000, you mentioned was 5 acres.
So when I look at the plot of land that the fire district would need to build about a 14,000 square foot building in appropriate parking and ramp space in the front and back, it's about 1 2/3 of an acre.
Depends on what the chair has going on tonight. Wouldn't be an unrealistic expectation to talk about this a little later on with the board.
I think we can bring it up. I think we could bring it up under new business.
That's right.
Okay, so we'll bring it up under new business later this evening.
Okay.
And have a discussion on it.
Can I ask a simple question?
Absolutely.
You guys you've owned this land for a fair amount of time, over a year and a half, 2 years. Why all of a sudden the change? I mean, why not offer, why didn't you come to us sooner?
No, that's not a fair question, because Mike Zitar came to us prior to the meeting to when we had the police department on the warrant, and we said hold off because we didn't want it to sabotage the sale of the police department. But after the police department was okayed and it went through, we were open and willing to discuss. We've always been open and willing to discuss. Am I right?
No.
Yes, no, Jeannie, that's right.
Yeah, that was my recollection.
Football field. We were gonna build a football
No,
field.
No, that's a different
But, yeah.
story.
But
At
that's
town
what the-
meeting, yes, at town meeting, we said that that would be an option, and yes, that doesn't negate speaking and talking and open discussion about the fire station. You're talking about two different things and making it an option. nobody's saying, jump in, yes, it's yours. There's always a discussion and an open discussion and see what is viable and what's not viable.
So a follow-up to Paul's question. When was communication shared between the two entities that to possibly look at the property?
Before town meeting.
Yes,
I think
so
that's
my
before town
recollection is the same as Pat's, which is basically, the selectmen were approached about the possibility of putting the station there, and at the time, they did not want it
Right.
to jeopardize. They said, let's get through this, and then when you're ready, come back and we'll be willing to look at it. And that's when the chief came back to the board, whatever that was, and said, are you ready now? And we said, yes, let's talk about it.
So I just want to, I'm sorry, just want to understand. So the ball was thrown, because the commissioners at the time were told absolutely do not come to the meeting, do not talk. So we knew of that. As far as the commissioners, I got from that was that property was a done deal. I never got as a commissioner, come back and talk to us. It was a very explicit message I got before the station was built. So how were we to know to come back? We have now 1 year, 2 years incurred about $1 million more to possibly build there. So bringing it, that's our concern. It's now coming to us so quickly at the end when we're ready to push forward on Park Street, that if there's not a possible agreement looking on the horizon, we need to push hard on that. It's kind of late to the game to all of a sudden bring the offer, but we wanted, mentioned to us, we're more than willing to come and look at the potential, see if it's viable, see if the whatever cost exchange is viable. If it's not, I mean, we're already too late to the game to begin with.
Well, both Jeannie and I were both on that committee, and we both served as spokesperson when you folks came to the board. Whatever internally went on with messaging and communications back and forth in your end of the woods, we can't account for that. We've always been open and honest about where we stood. We didn't want it to sabotage any part to do with our putting a police station in after 11 years of trying to get a police station built. We didn't want it to sabotage in any manner the police station being built. Come talk to us after that. And to Joe's point, there was a huge discussion during that time at town meeting about will the ball field still remain? Will there still be room for a football field or other recreations were discussed and so on and so forth. So, there was a lot discussed. Then you folks came to us just recently. So whatever went on in between there, we didn't go knocking on your door and say, hey, do you want to take a look at it? That wasn't our responsibility.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, for the record,
Yes.
I want to make it very clear. I received a phone call prior to that meeting from a selectman at that time who made it very clear to not show up to your meeting to discuss it in any fashion and to not even look at the property going forward.
Which meeting? What?
The meeting that we were originally going to come to, I received a phone call from one of your board members saying, do not come to our meeting. There was no, we'll look at it after, for your record. So the fire district did not approach the selectmen after that because it was very emphatically clear to not look at that property at that time. Or there was no encouragement after that. So we have come in good faith to talk with it in the last meeting.
Was that 2 years ago? I'm just trying to know.
Yeah,
So
it was before
that was before my,
It was before your warrant article vote to pass the police station.
because all I'm going to say, I do remember the town meeting. I do remember discussion about ball field. I do remember discussion about those other pieces. And then I know discussion about use of property afterwards.
So I really, if
Okay.
it doesn't look like the town of Tilton selectmen are in favor of this, please just let us know earlier rather than later.
Let us talk tonight.
Absolutely, I
Business,
totally
and
respect that.
I'm hoping that we can determine if we have this big significant interest, to be able to say that we will go forward for you. And then obviously flesh out what the dollar amount or cost or exchange amount or whatever it is would be.
Absolutely.
Is that fair?
Absolutely. I think it is.
Can I just say one other thing though?
Please.
If you guys did approve it, and we did not approve building a station there,
Sure.
we still want on Park Street, would you be up to maybe in the future to have a substation?
I think, let us take that up on the discussion this evening.
Yeah.
So is that fair? So I've got it. I'll put the question down. So.
I appreciate that.
We'll take up that question as well. So. Anything else, board members? No. Gentlemen, anything from your side?
I don't.
I'm good. I've spoken my mind.
It will come up under new business this evening. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming over.
Yes.
Absolutely. We want to exhaust all options.
Chief, is that sewer commission's paper?
No, right here.
No.
Okay, all right. Just don't want to take theirs.
You could take it out with mine and it's not a problem.
It's not a problem, I just want to make sure you didn't
Yeah.
get sewers.
Go ahead, take it.
I'll take this.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chief.
What paper is that? Oh, the other stuff.
because he's on the front page.
Oh.
What is it called?
What is one Time being 5:14, I make a motion to enter into non-public session per RSA 91A32A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges him or her, unless the employee affected, 1, has a right to a public meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. And RSA 91A32C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Constantino, yes.
Jessamine, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Pyra, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
We are in non-public session.
This conference will now be recorded.
That just like that. I'll call it.
I'd like to make a motion. Because disclosure will affect patient person.
Jessamine, second.
All those in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye. Is that feedback in that way?
Yes.
Can't hear you.
Sounds like literally sounds like.
We can't hear you at all.
No.
That's better.
Can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Tim.
You
But it was
muted it
his,
for us.
it was
Oh.
his, thing was doing,
Oh.
so he just connected.
Gotcha, okay. So selectmen's reports. I'm a first question had come across in terms of Casella agreement for the waste collection and disposal with Tim, who had reviewed and made some suggestions. We've got a series of questions. Do we agree with the suggestions? Could there be other changes or any questions? Do we want to directly meet with Casella to discuss the agreement? Do we want the attorney to review the agreement prior to signing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still, this is not agreeing to the contract, but it's just taking a look at what do we need to review prior to when the new contract starts in January. But we've got everything straightened, squared away.
I just saw these tonight. I didn't get a chance to look at Tim's report.
He sent it prior.
Nonetheless,
This here,
Yeah, sent that like,
it has been a
Well,
while.
his comments, when did you send those, your comments?
the last meeting, I think.
The 7th, I think.
Correct. Yeah.
I reprinted it in the report.
Yeah.
Good, because I apparently didn't print the email. I thought I printed
Can
I
we
thought I printed the whole email.
Put this like on the agenda. I had gone through it, I put some notes and marked up a copy, but I didn't bring it with me. It's just sitting on my desk.
So you're asking to put it
Yeah,
next
so,
agenda?
and have it like, so this is
first.
the date
Okay.
for it. And then I,
Good, because I want to move on from this.
So,
Do we want Casella here?
no,
No.
my.
so John, are you saying that at the beginning of the next meeting, throw it right on first or wherever it would fit,
If-
just
if
for a
every-
quick,
that-
just for a quick review?
Yeah,
Okay.
if everybody else is good with that.
Sure. We're almost done.
Mm-mm.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
That we have it early in the next meeting? Okay, so we'll all review, bring our notes, etc. The other one is, in terms of the insulation quotes for the Tilton Senior Center, are we ready to choose so we can get the work scheduled, especially before it starts to get cold?
I'm ready to choose. Let me get the exact paperwork here.
I gotta print that out.
Make a
I had
motion that the insulate the Tilton Senior Center using USA Insulation out of Manchester in the amount of $12,929.
Is there a second?
$929, yeah, to do the attic as well as the interior walls, of which there are no insulating factors inside. I think that,
I think you mean the exterior walls, yeah.
the exterior walls, between the interior and the exterior, there's a gap. And the interior walls are metal, so I mean,
So we've got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and second discussion.
okay. The stuff they're using fiberglass, not cellulose. Cellulose being like strips of newspaper and or cardboard that over time settles, leaving big gaps. We could save upwards of 30–40% on our heating bills, or our heat loss, I should say, which would translate into savings on the fuel to keep the senior center warm. And that's my take on the insulation.
Mr. Scannell?
So we asked for different vendors to bid on the R38 and or their recommendations or suggestions or other options we have on it. And the two of them were recommending the cellulose, and I know from climbing through it, you can actually see little letters from newspapers they do that, and then they coat it with borax, and I don't know if anybody else ever dealt with that.
Yeah.
It can be okay, but settles a lot, and the dust is kind of up there. The one that he talked about having was fiberglass and it's blown in, and he was going to do it to R40 something. So they were going to have extra, a good amount of insulation on it.
49.
49. So there was, no, I said one amount, R38, and it was hard for me to determine what the actual rating should be. And it was like the boundary for where it changed. It's like planting zones. Once you get past zone 1, zone 4, it should be this or that. And Chuck weighed in on it. I forget what he said, but the results is the fiberglass doesn't settle down. That's what we put in the police station. And then it was 22, one of them was 22% heat loss goes through the roof or the attic, and then the other one was 26%. So, and there was nothing in any of them. So we have a tin box with no insulation, and I think it's a worthwhile investment. It's also makes a great emergency center for people if there's a disaster of some type, because we could serve food there and keep people warm in that. I think it's a good investment.
Anything else? No. Those in favor of the motion to take the bid from USA Insulation to insulate the senior center, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Date for public meeting on Tilton Island Bridge. So the thinking is, as we all know, is that because it's such a significant project, being able to discuss it with residents in an open public meeting would be obviously an appropriate forum. Thoughts on the date for it?
Sooner rather than later. And I guess but still, we need enough time to get the word out so people can come. I've had a lot of people asking, and in person. I don't read the Facebook comments because, I appreciate their energy and enthusiasm, but their lack of knowledge about what's actually going on is oftentimes skewed. So I would invite everybody to this public meeting to come down and hear what the real deal is.
Beginning of September? I
Well,
mean,
we're
October.
Say too late for that, John.
we're having the Casella discussion. We're having a non-public.
If we have to get the word out, I'm not gonna have time, given, I'm not gonna have time, I would say October 20th.
20th, October
October
20th.
20,
I'm all for that.
At a time to be determined.
So
October 20.
October 20th. I'll do this one quickly, I think, and I can bring it back next meeting. Just thinking about in terms of priorities for the end of the year, and then know what would be our priorities in 2023. So I'll move on to Mr. Jessamine.
Okay, I actually have something that I'm going to add into Jeannie's report, but I talked with, and this is kind of for you, Jeannie, as well. I talked with Alan from next door, and he was downtown this, and we could do that. I says, well, did you go to the meeting today? And he says, what meeting? So he volunteered, and he would love to be a part of the Downtown Economic Development Committee. And I don't know exactly how to go about doing that, or getting him on the list of people, or maybe you've got all you can handle, I don't know, but I just thought that I would bring that up and let you know.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And I pass to Mr. Pyro.
I had some very pointed questions about electricity at Riverfront Park. There's some outlets that need to be repaired, and the question came up of who is responsible for that, because is it considered part of the building, which would be the town, or is it the Parks Department or Parks Commission?
Where?
Town.
On the island?
Riverfront Park.
Oh, Riverfront
Sorry,
Park.
Riverfront Park at the building there. There's some electrical outlet issues,
That's the Parks Department.
but it's part of the building.
Took it over.
All the maintenance and that stuff, we're now doing that. All right then.
So it's the town. Okay. So I will have Bob contact the town. It was a great election day on Tuesday. It was very well run. Congratulations or kudos to the town moderator on her first election. Lots of volunteers, made it very smooth, and it was just nice to see people and talk to the voters. And I'll pass on to Mr. Scanlon.
So, yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It was good help down there with doing everything in the counting. And it really went very smooth, especially with all the new things on the ballots there. So I thought it was kind of interesting. I want to thank everybody for the overwhelming response over the D in downtown. I don't know if anybody saw that, but in my regular going out and picking up the garbage, which is across the street from my house, and trash on a couple times a week, caring for that, and put a couple bushes in, cut 2 trees down that were dead, and yeah, fixed the D in Welcome to Downtown Tilton sign, and I didn't realize how many, like I said, people that appreciated that. It was bothering them. It looks nice. Don't think anything else that's going on. That's about it. Oh, thanks.
Selectman Constantine.
I have a few things. One is our reports from our department heads, they're kind of slacking off a little bit, and we're getting them the night before, or the evening of Selectmen's meeting, and it's kind of hard to disseminate their information so that we can be prepared and ask questions at the Selectmen's meeting. So can we either send a letter out or remind them that we can have them, I think the policy was by noon on Wednesday. If that a reminder could go out, that would be great. Executive Committee for the Senior Center is meeting on the 26th at 4:30. Dave Currier, our beloved bus driver, is taking 2 trips for the seniors to go apple picking on September 28th and October 5th up to Stone Mountain Apple Orchard. There are a few historical pictures of the Grange when it was the Grange, when the senior center was the Grange. A lot of the pictures are Severton, Tilton, Grange members in the hall, and the Tilton Historical Society would love to have them as part of their memorabilia at Tilton School. I wanted to see what the consensus was of the board before I brought that up at the executive committee on Monday.
I'm all for whatever the executive committee sees fit. You know, the deal with the Tilton photographs, and the same thing would apply, and
Right.
that would put them all in a very good spot.
Mr. Scanlon.
Would it be possible if they could make copies that we could put back at the Grange Hall? Because it is kind of nice to walk in there and see all, the original purposes of that Grange Hall and all the people there. I think they can scan them in or something if we could.
They don't really know who those people are, except when Millie Shaw was alive. It was her when she was 8 years old. Other than that, it was really the Bodwells from Sanmerton, that kind of group. We can.
Yeah,
If you want to
I
put
just,
it back up in the hallway, we can.
yeah, make copies because when you go in there,
People when they
the
go
bare
in
walls.
would- Yeah, people when they go in would, associate it with the
Nostalgia.
Grange. I don't know who any of those people are, but I've spent lots of time looking at their
Staring at those
pictures.
pictures, yeah.
Okay, and then we are, the executive committee, looking for donations for the bus tickets. So if anybody looks at this video, we're looking for donations to bring the seniors over to see the Gift of Lights, November and December. I think it's $60 for a bus to go in, and we usually go like 2 or 3 times. We have enough for 2 donations already, so that being said, and then I have one more thing that I want to read. Not going to be popular. I can find it. I'm going to read this, and I would like this document to be a part of the minutes. However, tonight's discussion, although brief as it was, I understand that together we can work as a group and a team, and I look forward to that, moving ahead and working as a team. And I look forward to having a discussion with Jeannie. She had a lot of input prior in non-public, and I look forward to working with that. But I am going to read this because of the discussion that we had last week. Dear Board of Selectmen, first let me apologize for any inappropriate actions on my part in the last Selectmen's meeting. It was unnecessary and not the way I should have responded to a personal attack or misleading statements made about me. When I was first elected to a public office at the age of 18, no one presented me with a code of ethics. As a matter of fact, all I was told that I was expected to represent my constituency to the best of my ability. I did that then, and I continue to do it today. I brought with me a code of ethics based on integrity, honesty, and trustworthiness, which I held dear to me for all the ensuing years. I learned that I need to be objective and professional in my role as an elected official. This did not mean that I could not disagree with others, and it certainly did not mean that I gave up my right to engage in conversation with or question town employees. In fact, it was unavoidable if I were to be an effective negotiator and advocate for those who elected me. Last week's prepared diatribe by Selectman Ruggles took me aback, has called into question all of what I've learned a conscientious public official does. It was a premeditated personal attack on me and my integrity. First, I have been called a liar, a statement he backed up by the reading of a partial quote from notes taken out of context. To be more specific, in the meeting of June 16, 2022, during his selectmen's report, Selectman Ruggles stated that the Economic Development Committee sidewalk policy would include no sign on the sidewalk. On July 7, 2022, during a review of the draft minutes, I corrected the minutes to read nothing on the sidewalks. Since this was the wording in the proposed policy, Selectman Ruggles discussed at July 16, 2022 meeting. At no time did I say I agreed with the portion of the proposed policy Selectman Ruggles quoted me as saying I wanted nothing on the sidewalks. When I attempted to rebut his accusation saying this, he called me a liar in public. This is an attempt on his part to belittle me. In addition, he accused me later of calling him a liar. This is untrue. I've never in my life called anyone a liar. An overt action is not in my style. Apparently, he needs to revisit the minutes of the meeting and do more than just a cursory read. Secondly, I was accused of pitting downtown merchants against each other, a fabrication which has surfaced before, which I vehemently denied. Selectman Sandlin corrected Selectman Ruggles and stated he had approached downtown merchants. Despite Selectman Scandal's clarification, I continued to be blamed. Then came the name calling. I assure you, petulant child does not describe me, and further, this is a playground bully term, not a professional comment by any means. I'm an adult, and I am free to express my opinion in any open forum. I believe it is termed freedom of speech. When I am animated, it implies I am passionate about the subject or issue, not that I am angry. The word transparent is used often during our meetings. I believe that transparency is vital for the health of an organization, especially a government organization. However, to censure questions is not in keeping with this concept. And name-calling and half-truths do nothing but frustrate and confuse the audience as well as members of the board. We as selectmen have abdicated from the leadership of town departments and delegated authority to and oversight to the town administrator. However, in doing so, we have lost the personal touch with our employees and put an added layer between our employees and us. In private industry, this would be called out of touch with what is happening. Yet we continue to be their supervisors in the eyes of our constituents. Recent attempts to question or hold employees accountable to the selectmen has been misconstrued to be mistrust by Chair Ruggles. This could not be further from the truth. It is called accountability. How else are we to find out what is happening in each department or to respond to queries from the public? Questions provide an opportunity to engage in a healthy and non-threatening exchange, not a chastisement of the employee. Public selectmen's meetings should be an opportunity for our constituents to see the business of the town government in action, and an opportunity to engage in direct communication with their elected officials. On a recent occasion, when we were receiving a proposal from a vendor, when the chairman refused to take public input from the two elected officials who are constituents and in the audience, that was not in keeping with transparency or with past or best practices. Our public needs and deserves to be heard when they take the time to attend meetings or weigh in online to our sessions. I have reviewed the letter Selectman Ruggles at the meeting of September 1st, 2022 several times, and I find it to be an aberrant attempt to attack my character. Although I find the eye-rolling amusing for this fact is not one of my talents. So either he erred in his dissertation or he was referring to someone else. I found premeditated attempt to belittle me unjustified and deliberately hurtful. What I found most hurtful, however, was the unsolicited comment made by a non-board member who injected at one point that I was the source of bullying. This was not only hurtful, but inappropriate and unprofessional. It is apparent that the purpose of the entire exercise is to discredit me as a selectman. Such a tactic will not deter me to carry out my responsibilities to the citizens of Tilton. If this is your strategy, I suggest you take a different tact. This will not work on me. In his reading last week directed at Selectman Scanlon and me, Chairman Ruggles constantly referred to paragraphs in the town standard of conduct. However, ethics are far more than paragraphs on a sheet of paper designed by bureaucracy. They are acting honestly, leading with integrity, and most importantly, doing the right thing. May we strive to act accordingly. Respectfully, Pat Constantino. That's it for me.
Town administrator's report.
So at the last meeting where we had the public hearing and the selectmen accepted the $53,609.72 in highway block grant funds. DPW Director Duvall would like to purchase equipment which is allowed per the Senate bill that allowed those funds back to the town for a trackless in the amount of $49,348 to maintain class 4 and 5 roads. Kevin was going to be here to present. He could not be here tonight. He did leave this email to me. He said the equipment for the sidewalk machine is a boom mower that can reach 15 feet, which will be a huge asset for maintaining the roadsides. We will be able to cut down on man hours and avoid issues with poison ivy and bees. The wheel package goes with the boom mower to add machine stability. The V-plow will allow us to use the trackless machine over for the small annoying storms that produce 2 to 6 inches of snow. the big ribbon blower that we currently have is overkill in those situations. He says these are key attachments for the trackless machine, and he would like to make that purchase. If you are uncomfortable making that decision tonight, he said he'd be happy to come back at the next meeting and discuss it with you.
Let's see. I'm going to make a motion that we, so it's the amount 49,348,
Yes.
that we allow our Public Works Director to purchase the equipment for the trackless in the amount of $49,348.
Second. Motion and a second discussion. Selectman Constantino?
What have we done with the highway block grants funds in the past? Hasn't that gone back to the,
It goes to offset the expenses of the highway department, used to fund the work that they do. But it's a very small amount. It's about $54,000 a year.
I know, but $54,000 a year, I'm not questioning that we need this and we would use it, but it seems like we're spending an awful lot of money and that there are seniors out there that are deciding whether or not to have medicine or pay taxes. And so would this money be able to go somewhere else that is needed?
No, it can only go to highways. And it was identified in the legislation. Senate Bill 401 will provide funding with restricted uses, meaning that it may be used to supplement, not supplant local budgets. A supplement, not supplant provision requires that these funds must add to and not replace local budgeted funds when providing services that repair, maintain, and construct municipal bridges, repair and maintain class 4 and 5 roads, or acquire the equipment necessary to maintain class 4 and 5 roads. So it couldn't be used for anything other than that.
Mr. Scanlon?
So that means that they can't use it, like if we're planning on paving a road, it can't go to that. It has to be something separate that's not normally budgeted, right? Am I getting that
Correct.
So it could go to pave an extra road that wasn't budgeted for.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something that you normally do, yes, you can.
Do we get that every year? Excuse me.
Yes.
Highway block grant.
We just got additional this time because of this Senate Bill 401.
That was the additional kick in over the normal amount that we get. We budgeted to receive the previous one. But this one we didn't budget to receive. We just
Right.
That's
got it.
correct.
Unanticipated funds.
Motion second. Any more discussion? Those in favor of the motion to allow the DPW to use the $49,348 to purchase the equipment for the trackless, please say aye.
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 Those opposed?
No,
Motion passes 4-1.
Next item, we received a revised quote from JP Carter Electric for the 5 lamp posts. If you remember, this is 300 feet along the new fence line. The first proposal was for 15 lamp posts, 14 feet high. The first quote came in at a much smaller amount. We were going to use ARPA funds for this. It got re-quoted after, as the price of everything's gone up. So it went from like 36,000, something like that, to 81,000. So we asked, I think the board asked me to go back to Josh and find out, what could talk to the lighting people, what could we get away with and maybe phase it in over time. So he came back with 5 lamp posts, for a cost of $36,715 along the, that fence line on the grass. And we would be using ARPA funds, which is what we had talked to the board about before, if you want to go ahead and do this, or maybe you don't.
Mr. Stanley?
That includes also putting the wiring
Yeah.
in and everything too.
Everything,
So they would trench along there, run the new line,
Yeah.
and also install a post. Would they, at that time, make provisions that we could add others, or
Yes, that's the idea, and I did,
the wire's already there, so that's the hard part?
I had Kevin look at it as well, and there's already electricity there, you know, that town electricity that we hook up to, and it would be LED.
Included conduit and everything.
It's already, well, the conduit's not there yet, right?
No,
Yeah,
you mean
yeah,
the
he's gonna
conduit.
run the new
Yeah.
line from the meter post or whatever it is that they connect to.
Selectman Constantino?
Couple of questions. Are there is there anything that we don't know that in this area that economic development is planning to do in the future, like paving the sidewalk that's there, or putting trees back there, or anything like that?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Originally, was a sidewalk there that the selectmen were going to repave. Are we not going to repave that, or has the economic development decided that in the future that would be paved?
Well, the Economic Development Committee doesn't decide anything. They come up with proposed ideas, and it comes before the board, and they say yes or no.
Well, I'm asking if what kind of ideas you have for that area.
Well, the plan for that area was a paved sidewalk, and the lamp posts with hangers that you could hang hanging plants on it.
So you want us to spend the $36,000 just for the wiring? This is not the lamp post itself too, right? Or is this the lamp post?
Five lamp posts.
5 lamp posts. I really like it.
I make a motion to spend the ARPA money, the $36,000, get the 5 lamp posts with all the associated wiring.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
I just think that we're could be spending it somewhere else.
We had provided a list to the board of areas where we would spend the ARPA money. We have reviewed that with the board periodically. I think just the last time we asked the board for approval on 3 different things, right, Tim? One is the senior center insulation project. The second, there were 2 other ones.
That's correct. And originally, we had earmarked 50,000 for the lamp posts in that listing that was provided to the board. So this is, what did you say,
36.
36 and change.
But my point is, could we use 36,000 someplace else that's more needed than putting it with lamp posts in town?
Well, that's a decision that the board makes, that we came up with a list of items for the board to look at, and that was on that list. So.
The items that it covered was economic development, community, and safety. There were a total of 5 categories that were used to identify the benefits to townspeople. And this hit the safety, so that there was light along that portion of the walk. The community, increasing the use of that, and then economic development, just
beautification,
wrapping it all together.
Are we still going to do the light, or tending to do the light up by Riverfront.
Yeah.
Would that be with ARPA money?
Yes. The rapid.
The crosswalk,
Oh, yes.
rapid flasher.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
I call the question.
Question has been called. Those in favor of the motion to use the $36,715 for the wiring and the 5 lampposts, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion passes.
Next item, the WRTA would like permission to hang their annual Taste of the Trail fundraiser banner on the fence near Riverfront Place building. They come every year and ask for approval, and you usually do. I mean, since I've been here, you've said yes, so.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Jeannie, we let them do it along the wall, island.
Yeah, on the island.
That's
But
where-
this says Riverfront Place,
That's what they said this time.
so this is different.
Well, that's our fence, it's the black fence. That's along the river.
Oh, so they
Oh,
talking
okay,
True Green,
okay.
True Green Trail.
Right.
Sorry, just,
Got
that's
it,
the easy way to remember it.
all right,
All the wrong.
I understand that.
I know, I understand.
So is that consensus?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
I sent the selectmen back on July 20th a copy of the welfare guidelines, which were updated by Heather. And I just wanted to take it back and see if the board has a chance to review them and if you're ready to approve them. And I think I sent it to you in my email.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So after falling asleep, after I read the first 20 pages, I finally got through the rest of it. I have a lot of questions that I've marked on it, but I didn't bring it with me. Can we spend some time on that?
So bring Heather to the meeting, our meeting.
I don't know if she has to be there, but that's
Well,
fine.
not
I'm
gonna
fine
be
with
able
that.
to
That's,
answer the questions. She did it,
Okay.
so.
She would be the only one that could truly answer.
Yes.
Could we,
pick a time.
could we gather questions and disseminate them to our, I don't know,
That's fair.
that's fair. You know, so that they're sent over to her,
Send
and then
them
maybe
direct
she
to
could
her.
even send them back, so we, at a meeting, we'd have them. I'm just trying to think of saving time, because I notice our meetings can run pretty late.
Do we all want to send them separately, or do we all want to send them to either Jeannie or
Just send
Well,
them to
I don't,
her.
send them direct?
I think Jeannie's gonna be busy. Send them,
We
can
can
somebody disseminate
Send
them?
them. Should we individually send them to her with copying the rest of the board?
Yeah, I think that's a great
Yeah,
idea.
That's a good idea. Okay.
Okay, the next item, this office received a call from Southwood School to see if selectmen would be interested in meeting with the 4th grade students to talk about town government. They're looking at any time between September 15th and October 15th, between the hours of 11 a.m. to 12:45 at the school. It'd only be about 20, 30 minutes. Is there anyone interested in doing this?
Oh, I'd love to go.
Oh, you and I?
Truly.
I've done it before.
So that's a Joe.
Pat wants to go too.
The Pat and Joe Show.
I don't know about that, but I'd be glad to go.
We received a letter from the DOT directed to the towns of Samberton and Tilton regarding a citizen request for a crosswalk at the Samberton-Tilton town line. I sent this to you in an email along with the map. Wanted to find out if there's interest in this estate would participate by installing the pedestrian controls on the signal and maintaining the marked crosswalk. The municipalities, Samberton and Tilton, would share in the design, construction, maintenance, and all costs associated with sidewalk connections between, at minimum, the crosswalk and the push button. I did check with the town administrator in Samberton to see if the selectmen had weighed in on this, and she advised they had seemed amenable to the concept and wanted to know how the Tilton Select Board felt about it. So I wanted to know if this is something you were interested in pursuing.
I'm not sure where it is.
So, what is called Market? Was that where it was? Is it that one, or is it at the fort?
We had some
didn't
problems
print it,
with
but
the copier, so I There's gonna be copies, but I only have the one.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody cross there, but it is a busy intersection.
Um, But I'm guessing that if this is something you would be interested
Is
in,
that Bay Road?
the next step would be to get a quote for what it would cost for all this design, construction, whatever, because I'm sure Sanborn's gonna wanna know, because I would guess that it would be an even split on all these costs, so.
That's around
Um,
the line there.
I'm
Come
a
on, pass it
hard
down.
maybe. Because if you did it right at the head of the bridge or where the lights are, you would have to have one going across and then one going across Upper Bay Road. Or you come way out, like where the old post office used to be, and put it in there. But there's a light 50 feet down I mean, it just sounds awkward.
But I know that a lot of people walk over, they come up from the lake or they walk over from the boats and all that. Sorry.
Yeah, and then the only sidewalk is across the street. At least partly.
Well, isn't the Lobster Connection moving across the street? They bought the place,
I
right?
heard that.
Yeah,
Yes.
next, right? So,
About 2 places.
but they have plenty of parking though over there, right? So I was thinking
Oh, yeah.
that they would need municipal parking to walk across the street.
No, they've got
They've
more
got
parking
more
over
parking.
there.
You have-
They've got lots of parking. It used to be a factory of some sort.
Right,
They also bought Daniel's well.
they do?
You also have the,
They have a condo in the place next to it.
Lobster.
but in that first quarter mile, you have quite a few residential stuff on the right that's very busy in the
That's-
summertime. And
It's true cabins and whatnot.
That's where, in my going back and forth frequently,
So it's right
I think it's that crossing
The lights
where,
are right there.
it's that corner where you have all the residential stuff that people start to come across to go get
But there's
a
no
sandwich or
sidewalk
whatever
over
from
there.
one's home. And now, with the popularity of the ice cream stuff, just 4 or 5 days ago, when I was driving over to Laconia, there was a father with 3 children going right across that area.
Yeah,
I think it's worth pursuing.
I'm for at least looking into it because it's a safety thing that's a crazy traffic there. Everybody's turning all different ways and to get it all organized for safety reasons.
the state will determine where the best location is.
I gotta tell you, I'm not in favor of spending any town monies on that sidewalk. I'd rather have a sidewalk up here on Winter Street.
We're gonna have that. That's been approved.
Good
The
enough.
crosswalk.
I don't want to spend money on it. Just me.
The location that you're looking at there, it looks like it's almost on the bridge. I mean, I would have to have more information, but I'm not inclined to agree with it. I'm inclined to agree with Joe.
I mean, I guess maybe if the state, I don't know.
I think we're looking at being able to put in, where you'd have to lower the curbs, obviously.
There would be that.
It's not the lighting. So it would just be
And you wouldn't be crossing onto a sidewalk. From a sidewalk to no man's land. Doesn't make sense.
Right. And it's right at the bottom of the bridge.
I think we need a little site walk and look.
Yeah. Be interesting. Put it on the thing for next week.
I'm all for pedestrian safety up there because it's a little crazy.
The traffic is nuts. People don't usually cross there because it's not safe.
I forgot to tell them about that.
So what are we doing with this? Do you want to do this or not?
I think we should.
Just to get more information.
I think we should look at it.
I don't see
You know,
how it would
what
work.
the cost or, I'm
The exact
interested
spots.
to limit, I don't know, is that how other people feel? See what it costs, they're interested.
Yeah,
Well-
exact spots and what are
Well,
we looking
we're
at
not
for potential
expecting
costs?
All in favor.
Well, you will be spending money.
It's not, yeah. no such
Is
thing as
that's
free.
Route 3, isn't that a state problem? No. Okay,
Well,
So-
let's do fact finding.
Well, I would say, is there a likelihood?
No.
If the, I don't want to say this, it's, where is this in the priority of things that need to get done? And
Way down there.
Right.
3 on,
Right.
on 1 to 10.
Way down.
Agree. Yeah, with that.
I concur.
So the next item is paid family and medical leave. This was something that was done through the legislature. It's in your FYI file, and I attached it to your report that I emailed. It's basically a paid family and medical leave plan, and it's an insurance plan that provides financial workers with wage replacement coverage for specific leaves of absence. We got this flyer in the mail. I called Health Trust, and they're going to be sending us information on it to look at. I don't know if this is something the selectmen want to consider offering employees. It's one of those things where we can negotiate terms and premium costs with the insurer. We could fully fund the premium cost on the worker's behalf, split the premium cost with the workers, or pass the full cost on to the workers.
I think it's worth looking into.
And as a premier employer, that's something that we should consider.
Okay, then I will wait to see what Health Trust gives us. Tilton Island Bridge. So, as you all know, the bridge is, you heard Scott say it earlier, that it is the only one of its kind left in the country. Right now, it's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and it has local significance. It has now been determined that it has national significance. National significance would open us up for more potential grant funding to help pay for the repair, but that comes at a cost for the designation as a national treasure, if you will. And I did get a quote to see what that would cost to do that application, $14,000. And if the board is interested in that, I would send out emails to my contacts to see if there's any money out there to pay for it. Whether it's all of it or a matching portion of it or something, but I think this would be really important to help, raise the bar, the significance of this.
Yeah,
Yes.
excellent.
And 14 to recoup 50 sounds like a deal.
Would be 14 to recoup 500. Even
Well,
better.
there you go.
Except 50.
So a while back, I had asked the board about Jim Cropsey. He had been approached about a swap for a parking lot for some of his property. I wanted to find out, would the board like me to set up a meeting with him and you to discuss this, or not?
I would not be in favor of that.
I missed the first part of your statement.
So somebody had approached Jim Cropsey and said that the town could swap.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So I just wanted to circle back to see if there was any interest from, okay, so nobody's.
I don't even remember what the swap
It
was.
was about the
Mill Street.
Mill
and-
Street parking
Mill
lot for
Street and
the,
parking spaces at the riverfront.
That PS.
Not yes.
I did follow up on the town hall ceiling. I sent you all that information. So I don't know if you have any direction on that.
As long as we're certain that it's not gonna come down on somebody, okey dokey.
I know, I appreciate Kevin getting up there and taking a look. I'm not sure if he saw the same area that I was talking about. He, I saw the pictures and he shows the top of the tiles in little pieces, but I'm talking about like 4 feet by 6 to 8 feet chunk settling down. And I know Tim's seen it up there, and we talked about last meeting. You'd
What
seen-
I had seen before was the paint peeling and then little pieces of stuff. I hadn't seen a big,
So,
but
But it-
that was, I mean, I hadn't seen it in 6 years.
so maybe I can, sometime over the weekend, I'd take a picture of it where I
Or
was
go up
talking
with
about.
Kevin
Yeah, get together with them.
and point
Or-
out
or
your concerns.
Somebody else, yeah. But yeah, thanks for,
And then the only other thing I had on my list was, and I know we talked about a little bit non-public, but I did want to talk about it in public, and it was the Tilton Community and Economic Development Committee. At the last meeting, there were comments made that were of concern to me, and I wanted to clarify a couple things. There was a statement made that there were no minutes of the meeting since January, and just wanted to point out to the viewing public that there are minutes on the website. If you look on the home page under boards and commissions, under economic development, you'll find the minutes. They began in April. The selectmen had actually approved the official meeting at their March meeting. So there are April, May, and June minutes on the website. And the committee did not have a meeting in July, and the August minutes have not been approved yet. And the September meeting was this morning. So I think we're pretty up to date with minutes. I also want to just point out that the committee had reviewed the sidewalk policy and brought a suggested change to the board for approval. The change was to prevent chairs on the sidewalk and provide consistent seating, i.e. putting more town benches on town property for residents and visitors to sit on. And it was during discussions with the selectmen, there was back and forth about the change being more comprehensive, that nothing would be on the sidewalks. And I just want to make clear that this change was never suggested by the committee. The committee never suggested, or the members, that nothing would be on the sidewalks. It was all about chairs, because we wanted more consistent seating. There was some comments made about irregularities in the committee, and I'm concerned about that. I don't know what that refers to, and if anyone has any clarification on that, I would like to hear it. I think it was important to just state this for the record, because this committee has worked very hard, and we continue to work hard and positively to add to the economic vitality of the downtown. Our businesses, restaurants, and our retail stores are vital to our success, and any suggestion that the committee is working against our business community is wrong, and I think is detrimental to the community as a whole. So.
I would like to say that as far as I know, I'm the only person in this town who wants to see a clean sidewalk. I'm more of a, if you want to put something out on the sidewalk, you get the proper permit. Otherwise, it's the Wild West out there, and they put whatever they want. And I don't think that's necessarily a good idea.
And one of the other things we talked about this morning at the Economic Development Committee was doing something in the downtown to help the businesses, whether it's a annual sidewalk sale where we encourage people to get involved. So the committee's looking at creating that. And then there was a suggestion about a townwide yard sale. And I talked to Joe about that because I guess he spearheaded that before. And so that would be something we'd look at doing in the spring.
We also talked about the trunk or treat.
Right.
I made mention to you of the fact that we had the zombie walk.
Right.
And which was extremely popular. And I didn't remember to tell you that the person to discuss that with is Johanna. She's not there right now, but Johanna. She was but she ramrodded that and she had a crowd and you should have seen it. It was something. So just so as you know.
Are we still gonna do something with the, beer thing?
Not,
Oktoberfest?
no, not, next year. We
Next
just
year?
ran out of
Wanted
time.
more time to set it up,
Yeah.
to be able to get everything.
And you wanted to, I'm done with my report unless anyone has any questions. Just a reminder, probably don't want to do it. We have minutes to review, which are extremely long. You wanted to talk about the fire station conversation, and after the meeting adjourns, we do need to have the CDA.
I forgot to mention, and I put it back on your desk, the Vicky Virgin.
Hmm.
So if you want to tell them about it, I forget the date on it.
And while you're looking for that, I might inject here that the light at the statue is blinding as you go up that way.
That one.
Yeah,
The
from
Is it
west
still
to
turned-
going
is
east.
it someone turned
It's
around
what?
again?
What?
'Cause it
I
was-
don't know,
it was
but-
turned back. Is it coming?
Which
Timetable
coming into your
label.
eyes? Is it
Blinds
coming
you
into
as you
town?
drive, no, going away,
Oh,
going out of town.
Okay.
So,
it looks like
so
it got
somebody must have
reflected.
turned it.
So,
Yeah, it could have been turned again too, but it might be worth looking.
I didn't think it was as bad this morning, because when I went up there this morning.
I wonder if, and somebody asked me, they said, how come the town can have lights shining up and we can't have lights shining up? And I was, but maybe we could put it on a pole higher, pointing down at it, I don't know. Maybe
fact
that would
was
be,
that the light
and then
had
the
to be
snow would hit
pointed
it.
down and diffused for a new
Yeah,
car.
I know,
I'd pick
and I-
anybody. This is
I
a
mean, people have them,
ground-based light.
I mean, people have them on their homes all over pointing, you know.
But the same thing
solar
happened at the
lights.
Civil War. When you come off of Cedar Street, you were blinded by the one at the Civil War. And Kevin put a deflector on it, it's fine.
There you go.
Okay.
Vicky Virgin Food Drive will be on Saturday, October 8th. It says Saturday, October 8th or Saturday, October 22nd from 9 to 1.
They submit, apparently Gail submitted 2 dates.
Okay.
First option is October 8th and then the other one.
Oh.
And then Market Basket will get back to us to pick which one it is. Family Resource Center is gonna run it.
Nice, so if
Or-
you have a
yeah.
volunteer.
Okay, all right.
Really?
I'm done, so.
Okay. I think, should we table minutes till the next time, like we had promised that did we discuss the fire piece at this
Yes.
point in time? Okay. Table minutes till the next time, so the Sanborn Road, what are we thinking? What are we thinking in terms of that piece of property? Value swap?
I think this is a legitimate reason for a non-public land, the sale of land in real estate. Because we're gonna talk numbers.
Even if we talk numbers, we're not selling it to anybody else.
Doesn't matter.
Or, I mean, we're negotiating though,
Right, we're negotiating a contract.
and
Because then you could also, someone could throw numbers about over there where the station is now and say, oh, I think it's worth this or that. And
longer come to our agreement, what we all agree on.
Right.
I'm going to make that motion that we go into non-public.
I make a motion to go into non-public session, fill in the blank with the appropriate letter, the discussion of the sale of town property.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. They don't have the cheat sheets.
Constantino, yes.
Well, if the cheat sheet's not there, I'm
Yeah.
sure that Jeannie can fill in the proper blank.
It's called a sale and disposal of real estate. Thanks.
All those, we're going around doing a roll call vote.
I said Constantino, yes.
All right, Jessamine, yes.
Rebels, yes.
Sorry, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
Mr. Chair, go ahead.
I gotta do this real
Yeah.
quick. Go back to it. Someday I'll memorize it.
No, that's what changed.
I'd like a motion to seal the minutes in the non-public session, second non-public session of September 15th, 2022, because disclosure would adversely affect the reputation of the town and town investments.
The sale of
Sale of,
The
sale
outcome.
of,
real
sale of.
estate.
sale of real
Perfect,
estate.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to
Abstain.
reclaim my time from the selectmen's report. There was an omission. I heard lots of praise going around for all the people that worked it and the moderator, and all rightly so. But I want to give special kudos to Kim Souls, who it was her first voting as the town clerk. Huge responsibility with all the reporting and everything else she had to do, and she pulled it off without a hitch. And so kudos to her. And that's it.
Well done.
Any new business? Mr. Jessen?
Yeah, I have new business, motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a
Oh.
second.
Yep.
Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.